So here we are. I'm prepping the veggie beds. I'm using, as I've mentioned in the past, my cultivator. So as you can probably make out, what I'm doing is I'm just loosening the soil to get the roots of these plants that are in the wrong place a little bit looser. I'm just going to leave them on the surface. What I've noticed about Hungary here is that one minute it's winter and then all of a sudden, within a couple of days, bam, it's spring. But you see how I'm just leaving this here like this? I'm not really putting too much effort into that. But anyway, back to the sudden arrival of spring. It feels warm, but the soil is still quite cold. Now, as I've mentioned, I like to leave any plants that are growing in the autumn in situ. It just helps to keep the soil intact, keeps the life going. You see how easy this is? How long would this take me if I was having to dig it? Now, during the summer, when I cut the pathways here, I threw the grass onto these beds so that they could compost in place. There wasn't much point in me cutting the grass here and then going all the way down to the compost to let it decompose there, only to bring it all the way back again. So the grass cuttings acted as a bit of a mulch and has rotted down over the months. So I don't have too bad a structure here. You get the odd root or the odd plant now and again where the roots are a bit tough, but generally speaking, it's pretty easy to do. So I'm a third of the way through this bed. By doing this, I'm harvesting, if you like, the organic matter, because I'm just gonna, the roots on these are quite shallow. I get the odd one now and again that's a little bit tougher, a little bit deeper, so I'll probably pull those out like that one. Bit of grass there. I'll pull them out by hand. What I'm trying to do is create an environment where I can get nature to help me with the work. So by doing this, it's about the same kind of logic as hoeing your weeds in the summer. A lot of people just hoe them off and let them dry out in the sun on the top of the thing, which is okay. There's no harm in that. I'm doing the same here. So my daytime temperatures at the moment are around about 12 or 13. Tomorrow they're going to go up another couple of degrees. And by the end of the weekend, I'm going to be hitting 19 degrees Celsius. So the idea is that all these weeds will die off. Soil looks okay. These weeds will die off. And I can rake them all off and throw them on the compost heap. Now, we got towards the end of the bed and there's a lot of grass, crabgrass I've got here. You get a lot of it, and it's started to encroach into this particular area of the bed. I want to get that out. The first thing I'm doing with this is it's loosening the soil and it's revealing the roots of this grass. So I won't do the plant any favours, but it's going to allow me to be able to get this out as much as possible. And the other thing I need to do is cut a line along the edges of all of these beds so that it's harder for the crabgrass to come in and take over. But I will need to get on my hands and knees and be a bit more methodical. But this is just literally a way for me to gently turn the soil over, expose any dodgy roots and tie it up. So I've done all of that. That's taken me what? No more than 5 minutes. Now what I want to do is go down the right, this left hand side here to do the other part that I couldn't quite reach with my cultivator. So it's all it is, literally just drawing it through, getting some air into here, gently turning it over, but not too much. Get a rough idea of where I want to be. Sometimes I might come across something that's a little bit too tricky, so I just turn the cultivator over and run the hoe through it just to cut the roots back. But can you see just how easy this is? Now, this space is 1.5 meters wide and it's 8 meters long. So what's that in square meters? Quick, work it out. 1.5 times 8 is, well, I'll put the answer up on the screen. But there's the thing. Look at that. That's taken me what? 5 minutes? Now a lady called Deborah sent me a comment on my last video saying that she or her husband wished that he could do something similar. Now okay, he may not have the space that I've got, but if you look at this, look, 8 meters by 1.5, you can get a lot of stuff in there. You know, you could grow quite a bit. But I'll use all that, say for example, for a whole crop of beetroots, because we grow a lot for winter storage. But you know, you could have salad leaves in the beetroots, all kinds of things. Once they're sown, all you've got to do is go out, you know, every now and again when you're watering it, for example, do some quick weeding with your hoe. There isn't a lot of time required to get on with it. 5 minutes to do that would have taken me a day to dig that, and obviously because I don't dig, I've just saved myself a huge amount of time. So whether you've got a balcony or you've got 8 meters by 1.5 or even a window box, you can grow something. Worth giving it a go. And you might recall that when I first came here, one of the other jobs that I wanted to do was to get a polytunnel installed, but what I didn't know was that it wouldn't survive. So it got blown away in a storm. I was left with the frame. But in true allotment tier style, I wanted to reuse it somehow, so I put it up here. As I said, I brought the frame up to here, and then I covered it with chicken wire. And the idea was I wanted to grow beans up it. You know what? It kind of worked, it kind of didn't, because I don't know if you remember, if you haven't seen the channel before, but go back and look at some of the problems I had last year here, mainly to do with the temperatures. It was so hot, and not only was it hot, the wind was whistling through from my left going in that direction, and it just burnt everything. So I didn't get a harvest, but I left the roots of the plants in the ground, because as we all know, and if you don't follow my channel then you don't know, but legumes, the bean family, have a great habit of fixing nitrogen back into the soil from the atmosphere. So my logic was two things: leave them in it, let them do their thing, but also this stuff I'm pulling out now, along with the old dead bean plants like that, is a plant that is in the wrong place, otherwise known to many as a weed. But yeah, okay, it is a weed, and a lot of you might think he's pulling these out and he's dropping all the seeds on the ground. Yeah, may well be, but they've stayed in the ground all winter. They protected my soil and kept feeding the life. That's a bit of a hard one. Down below my feet, or my knees at the minute. Can you see how easy it is for me to pull this out? So it's not all doom and gloom. Now this is the very first part of me prepping this area. Now this is my theory. Tell me if you reckon I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. But I want to get this clear first. Any seeds that were on here, these plants in the wrong place, have actually produced food for the large flocks of goldfinch that I see here. They rarely come onto the bird feeders in the front of the house with the other guys, but they do like a well-trained seed head. You'll often see them on dandelion clocks or flowers. We used to call them clocks when we were kids. You used to blow them, and then depending on how many blows it took to get rid of all the seeds, which every gardener would love, I'll tell you the time. Harder you blew, the faster the seeds came off the stem. It wasn't really accurate, was it? But anyway, right. Now, what I'm going to do with all this? Well, the back of the fence there, I've been, since clearing out the beds since the autumn, piling up all kinds of spent plants. So up here I've got everything, tomato, including the old tomato plants. I put these up here. The other thing I found out last year was I've got a lot of volunteer plants, in particular tomatoes. So I'm using my pitchfork, and this is a great tool. Not only is it good for the compost, and putting that onto the old fennel that grew last year. It's all dying back, so it will all go back into the soil, but any seeds that grow, be interesting to see what I'm going to get, won't it? So, what am I going to put in here? Well, I'm apologising in advance because it's a couple of days later and the breeze has picked up, so I'm sorry if this is coming across on the mic. There's not a lot I can do, but I just wanted to show you the result of clearing that bed. So the first part that you saw, I was doing that for about an hour, and then I've let it dry out a little bit, and you can see the soil a bit dry. And I've come through and I've cleared off all the debris that you can probably make out on the side of this particular bed. And then as we come round to the old polytunnel, exactly the same. The only difference is that I put a layer of homemade compost on both sides here. I need to give it a bit more of a tidy up, obviously get rid of the debris, and then I can have it ready to receive its tomato plants that you've hopefully seen me growing indoors. Now the beauty of a no-dig bed is that it doesn't take you very long to prep it. If you've got a good base of compost underneath, it's very easy to pull out the weeds, as you saw me tugging away at some of the huge ones earlier. But you know, that's taken me a couple of hours maximum in there, and the same there, and I've been able to come back and forth to it because I've got lots of other projects on the go at the moment. Let me show you one of them. As we're looking around, you can see all these hose pipes, and I've been talking quite a bit about the new irrigation system, and so I think I've finally worked out how I'm going to do it. So I've had the pipes laid out, but I've put it in a new position. So it's going to run from there, come all the way across to here. It's a plastic pipe, and then what I've got to do is connect it. So if you imagine that T going back down towards where the original water tap was. Now if we look down into this hole that I've had to dig, I've got to say I'm not too impressed with the way it was originally installed. There's the original standpipe that wasn't very secure, and I was told, oh, just bang a bit of metal in and tie it to it, it'll be fine. Well, yeah, all right. Anyway, we're doing something different. So this is the other main supply of water to the veggie patch coming from our well. And you might recall I've got another standpipe in the orchard and another one to the front of the house. And what I'm going to do is I've got to change that connection on the right hand side as you look, and connect this pipe to it to run up to connect to that pipe there, and then I can carry on and do the final installation. So what I'm going to be doing is obviously digging a little trench to bury this pipe, and then I can crack on and get this done. Now we've got some rain forecast in the next couple of days. That might make the ground a little bit softer for me, so I'm not in a major rush to do it, but I do know that I need to start watering pretty soon because something is already growing in the garden. Let me show you what that is. Now you're looking at this bed now and you're thinking, looks a bit weedy. Yeah, and also that light colour on there, wood ash. And there's another one just back there that's also wood ash. Now let me show you what this is. I planted these in the November, and the garlics have started to grow. So I now need to not only give this a quick weeding, but also give it some water. So the garlic goes up to that little white square there, and then show you these guys. These 3 pegs are surplus onion sets that I had, that I planted, where are we now? Yeah, middle of February, before the cold snap, and I've got some more going up that way. So by installing this irrigation system, I'm going to be having tapes that will connect onto this pipe and run up. So I can't sow them from side to side. I've got to go lengthways. Now the thing is about onions, if you sow carrots with them, great deterrent for the carrot root fly. So carrots will be going in here as well. 2 rows of those. So I'll probably use 2 tapes to keep it all moist. So I've got to get on with this job. But looking at the main beds overall, they're in pretty good shape. I've still got some tidying up to do, but I've got quite a few that are ready to sow into straight away, but it's just too cold at the moment. The soil temperature's too cold. Nice and warm outside, but not in here. The beauty of working this way, using this system of no digging and applying compost is that it frees up so much time. And not only that, I can move across and do other things. For example, these acacias here, I need to give them a bit more of a prune because I want them to grow a little bit taller, because they need to be giving me some shelter for the plants that I recently popped in the ground. And I went shopping. And that's the subject for the next video. So if you want to know what that is, you better stay tuned. But for now, take care. I'll catch up with you next time. Never thought I'd do a video about shopping. There you go. See you soon.